you could be doing everything right. Your training is on point, you're progressively overloading, or you're trying to. You're keeping your nutrition in check as much as you can. You're getting your steps in, you're staying hydrated, but your progress still isn't moving in the way that you want it to. And it might be something that you're overlooking, and it's something that you spend, or you should be spending, a third of your life doing, and it's your sleep. And in this video, I want to cover, or I will be covering, why it's so important in relation to the goals that you're looking to achieve within your fat loss, within getting more toned, building more confidence in yourself, why it's so important, and then what are the actionable steps that you can do to improve it. And it's a lesson that I've had to learn on my own journey as well. And I get that I'm young, I don't have a ton of responsibilities. I don't know what it's like to have kids and constantly be woken up in the night. But even for me, there have been times where, and there still are now, where certain things will be going on, I need to get stuff done, and sleep will sometimes fall to the side. But what I realise now is sleep shouldn't be considered as optional. It is quite literally a multiplier on everything else that you are doing. Yes, there may be certain things you can't control, and that's fine. There are definitely things that you can do to control it, and that's what this video is going to focus on. But I know that for me, often I want to be up longer and doing more stuff to get more done and get more out of what I'm putting in. But I also know that every little bit of sleep that I sacrifice, I also then sacrifice probably an equal amount of productivity and an equal amount of output in that next day. So I believe that if you're sacrificing sleep, and you know there are things that you can do to improve it, whether or not that's conscious or unconscious, maybe you're just letting it slide, you could be doing something but you're not thinking about it, it's always going to have a knock on to the next day, how you feel, how you show up. And in the context of fat loss, it has a massive impact. So that's exactly what I'm going to be getting onto now, and walking you through how to improve it so you get better results in your fat loss, and just in general with your fitness, losing fat, toning up, building muscle, and all of that stuff. So let's get into it. First big point that I want to talk about, and you will know this, if you get less sleep, maybe it's just a one-off night, or it's like prolonged nights continuously, a massive thing you'll know is how much hungrier you get. And when you are in a deficit anyway, there is a level of hunger that is to be expected, because you're giving your body less fuel than it needs to maintain. So it's in a deficit, it's going to be pulling from stored tissue, whether that's muscle or fat. Hopefully it's fat. It's going to be pulling from that tissue for energy. And you'll know when you are tired how much that multiplies your hunger, how much hungrier you get when you are underslept, and also when you have eaten, how much less full that you feel. And it's to do with the hormones that dictate your hunger, where your ghrelin, which signals to your brain that you're hungry, that your body's calling out for food, that will go up, and then leptin, your fullness signal, will come down. So you feel less full when you've eaten, and then you also feel more hungry in general. And this will apply even if you are eating the same amount on different days. If you are underslept, independently of how much you've eaten, you're going to feel hungrier. And always be looking to control, put protein in your meals, fill up on veg, fill up on volume, fill up on fiber. But poor sleep is always going to have a knock on onto that. And something else you will know, yes, you get hungrier, but you crave more of the higher calorie foods, the sugary foods, the fatty foods, that not that you should be avoiding. I'm never going to say you can't eat this, you can't eat that, because realistically you could make anything fit into a calorie deficit. Some things are going to make it easier, some things are going to be harder to fit into your deficit, but your brain is going to always want to be going for those foods that release a higher amount of dopamine in the brain, at least before you go for them, like the fast food, like the chocolate, the sweets, the biscuits, everyone has their own thing, but whatever that thing is for you, your brain is going to crave them so much more. So you're eating more of that higher calorie, higher processed foods, often mindlessly, because your body's calling out for it. You're not actually necessarily hungry, you're just underslept. And it's something like, when you are underslept, you're going to be eating on average like 200 to 300 calories more in a day, just by that alone. And the add up of that across the week, you're adding something like 1.5 to 2k calories every single week, and probably wiping out your deficit. So that's why sleep plays such a massive role in being able to control your cravings. Because like I said, cravings are going to be there anyway. We want to do everything that we can to minimize them, to help you feel more full and more energized, and it just plays such a massive role on that. And then obviously the other reason why it's so important is, alongside your nutrition, your training as well. We want you to be pushing hard in the gym. You want to be pushing yourself 1 to 2 reps close to failure. So you're giving every session that you are training as much as you can. And again, naturally you get less sleep, you have less energy to train, to push yourself, to again give your body that stimulus that it needs to grow and adapt. It's not going to get it as much if you're not training. If you're lower on energy, your focus is worse, sessions end up worse. So it has the knock on both ends. And the other thing as well with sleep deprivation is that your body is so much more likely to pull energy from muscle rather than fat, and your glucose tolerance within your body will drop by some pretty significant amount when you are underslept, which again pulls cravings. You're going to be craving more of the higher sugar, the higher calorie, higher fat foods that definitely are not supporting you towards your goals. And like I was saying, I know that certain things you cannot control, and you can't beat yourself up about, you have a kid that's screaming through the night, you have maybe your work schedule is all over the place, you might be working shifts or whatever those things are, but it's always about focusing on controlling everything that you can. You put certain things to the side that you can't do anything about, but what are those things that you can control, you can do something about? And the massive things that you can do that are going to help your sleep, help your quality and quantity of sleep, is a massive one that's always talked about, is sticking to a consistent schedule. This doesn't necessarily need to be 8 hours. Some people don't need 8 hours. Like there's a guy in the gym that I'm with where he's fine with 6 hours. He'll be waking up naturally anyway, but ideally you're going to sleep as long as your body naturally wants to sleep, if you can. So whenever you would naturally wake up, say when you're on holiday, how much you would sleep then is a pretty good idea of how much sleep you would generally need, which is probably somewhere between 7 to 9 hours for most people. If you can, stick to a consistent bedtime, consistent wake time. I know, again, it might not be possible, but if you can do it, then do it, because you train your body to get used to get tired. You train yourself to get tired at a certain time, and then you also start to wake up at a certain time, and naturally your body will then start to wake up with the usual time when you wake up. So it's trying to keep it as consistent as you can. Another big thing is getting sunlight, especially in the morning. And a lot has been said on this online. Andrew Huberman is big on this, but first thing in the morning, within the first hour, if you can, if it is light, go outside, get some sunlight in your eyes, because that's going to trigger the whole circadian rhythm. The cells in the eye see the sunlight, and that releases, I believe it's dopamine in the brain, or it's releasing the chemicals that wake you up and make you feel more alert. So if you can get sunlight in your eyes in the morning, and in the evening you want to do the opposite. So sunlight has blue light, which is going to be signaling to your brain that it's time to wake up. Like you might have heard, screens, phones, TVs and stuff like that, they're releasing blue light, and if you are on them a lot in the evening, like most of us are, let's be honest, that is, again, it's a signal to your brain that it's not time to sleep, it's time to be awake. And it's about doing what you can in the evening, even if it means just an hour before bed. Just switch them off, dim the lights, do something to not stimulate your mind further, because if you are on your phone, on your laptop doing work, which I'm guilty of now and again, but I try and do as best as I can to avoid it, but screens are going to give you, one, that mental stimulation that is going to keep you up. Secondly, it's going to give you that blue light that, again, is just stimulating to your brain that it's not time to be in bed, it's time to be awake. So doing what you can to limit screens in the evening. Another big point, like hopefully you would know, most of us should know, is caffeine. Avoiding it ideally midday onwards. Some people will have a better tolerance to it than others, but generally to any client, I would say you want to be looking to cut it out by 12 p.m. or at the latest 3 p.m. And some people might be fine having it in the afternoon. They feel like they can sleep fine, but it is just worth testing. See how you do. If you're used to having it later in the day, just try bringing it back a bit and just see how it affects your sleep, because 90% of the time it's gonna help you sleep better. You're gonna, one, switch off quicker, but also just improve the quality of your sleep. You're gonna get more deep sleep, more REM sleep when you do cut out caffeine, because this ties into alcohol as well, where you might feel like you switch off after a glass or two of wine and it might be easier to get to sleep, but then how is it impacting the quality of your sleep? It's not just about how many hours in the night you sleep, but how good is that sleep? And arguably the quality of the sleep is more important than purely how many hours you sleep. And alcohol plays a massive role in that. And I think it's the REM sleep that alcohol disrupts, but if you want alcohol, fine, in moderation always, and caffeine, limiting it before 12 p.m, 3 p.m. at the latest, but depending on when you do go to sleep. Something else I was talking about, and with clients, I always try and take a look at kind of what are they doing before bed to set themselves up for sleep. Probably the worst thing that you can be doing is lying in bed, just scrolling, swiping on your phone, which again, I know so many people do, that it's just normal, and you might feel like you can just switch off straight after that. But again, the quality of your sleep, I guarantee, is not as good as it could be. So have some kind of ritual, some kind of way of shutting your mind off before you go to bed, and try make it an hour. Dim the lights, do something like get a herbal tea if you're into that sort of thing, have some kind of like warm drink that's going to help calm you down, read a book, do something to just calm the mind and make it easier to drift off straight into sleep when your head hits the pillow, because anything else that you do is going to stimulate your mind more, and you want to be doing the things that are calming you down and making it easier to transition into sleep. Other little things with your room, set about keeping it or dim the lights before bed. Do everything you can to make sure your bed is dark. For most of us, we're going to go to bed when it's dark anyway, but if your schedule is different, or you go to bed early, then yeah, doing everything you can to dim the lights. Get blue light glasses can be good if you are going to bed when it is still light, and trying to keep your room cool, which is not the easiest thing, especially for us in the UK when we don't have aircon. And when it was boiling hot, it was so hard to sleep. But trying to keep your room as cool as possible is also going to have a massive impact on just helping you sleep better. So those are the main things that are going to improve your sleep. And an important message to, or something to always keep in mind, is that, like with food, one night, one thing is never going to throw you off entirely in the grand scheme of everything. You might have one bad night of sleep, might be disrupted because of weather, because of certain things that you have going on, but one night is never gonna have any major impact on your progress overall. It might have an impact on that next day, how you feel, your energy, your cravings. But again, if it's that one day where it's slightly worse, what is the average that we're doing? We become the average of the things that we do over time. Don't stress over one bad night of sleep. It's fine. Just get yourself straight back to sleep on schedule the next day. Don't let it hold you back from, again, doing the things that you can do, because just accept that it's gone. You can't change the past. Don't cling on to it. Don't let that just knock onto future nights, because you're just doing more harm that was caused by that initial night. So just do everything you can to get yourself back into normal schedule. One night is never going to ruin it. Just focus on controlling all the things that you can, making your room dark, cutting out caffeine by like noon, 3 p.m, getting light in the morning, all that stuff. Control all of that and your sleep will become so much better. And like I was saying, help to reduce your cravings, increase your energy for sessions. You get more out of them, and it just has a multiplier effect on literally everything that we are trying to do within your fat loss. So I hope this video helped. I know it was a little bit of a shorter one. Today, talking on sleep is a topic that I find interesting, and have realized through my own stuff how much of a knock on it has to everything else. So something that should always be a foundation. You should always be looking to control sleep before anything else, because it's kind of that foundation of support your own core needs first, and then everything else will come on top of that. So I hope this video helped. If you want to learn more about everything that I do, either go onto my Instagram. If you want a free calorie calculator and fat loss guide, go to the first link in the description and I'll put it down there. It's a free calorie calculator, and also you'll get daily emails that will walk you through how to put it into practice and how to make sure that you're clear on what you need to support you in your fat loss. But thank you for sticking around to the end. I hope you got value from the video. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one.